Hi, this is Kai Dragon Media, the gardening and cooking channel, and I'm Ann. I'm helping Kai out with some of his video. We love to have nature around, and like I said earlier in the video, if you feed your birds, they usually will leave your garden area alone. What I have found, if you have bird seed that is getting thrown out by the other birds and is all in the ground, sometimes you'll have doves that will come in and help clean up the mess because they are ground feeders. There are also several types of feeders that you can get that are actually meant for the ground. If you want robins to come, robins really like apples and other types of fruit, so of course worms, they will eat the dried mealworms, but you need to soak them so they're soft and mix them in with some apples and put them on the ground. Like I said, if you have trouble with the grackles, that's a whole nother thing, but the robins, they'll move in when they see that there's pieces of apple around and stuff. We have a wall built in front of the garden for shade, and it's taken 3 years to get looking this good, halfway decent. The honeysuckle was in bloom last month, and it's kind of died off now for a while, and it tends to like the cooler weather, and then it may start blooming again later on. But now the trumpet vine is starting to blossom, and we're hoping for actual hummingbirds to show up. We've had hummingbird moths, and they're quite pretty and fun to watch. They come early morning, sometimes late in the afternoon, and again at dusk. Just like your hummingbirds like to do too. And as you can see, we've got some sunflowers growing. We didn't plant them, but we left them because the sunflowers, once they grow up, the birds will eat them, and then we can pull them later. If you try to transplant sunflowers, a lot of times they don't do very good when you're moving them from one area to another, so we're just going to leave them and see what they do. They ought to be quite pretty because they're from the black oil sunflower seeds. So as you can see, I've got several types of feeders, and if they do knock a lot of food on the ground, if you can get it in an area where the doves can come and eat it without having other varmints come, that's a good idea. Don't take your bird seed and put it back into the bird feeder. They know when it's dirty and they're not going to eat it. If it's been exposed to rain or any other conditions where it's been hot, cold, wet, damp, they're not going to mess with eating it, and so you're wasting your time putting it back into a feeder, and you're just going to end up having to clean your feeder out. So once you notice that they're not using a feeder, it's a good idea to check it, make sure it hasn't gotten clogged. I like to take my feeders when I first get them, turn them upside down, and drill a couple more small holes in them because they don't always have enough holes for drainage, but adding 1 or 2 holes makes a big difference. And of course, I had a cute little sunflower feeder, and the redbirds loved it, but something bigger than a bird landed on it to eat what was inside of it, maybe Mr. Squirrel. Anyway, it got broke, so it had to be stuck on a bamboo rod, and we've kind of wired it back up so the cardinals can still come and get what they want out of it. But it didn't last like I thought it would, and it was made out of plastic, so we're looking for another substitute for that. They like the little platform feeders and the fly-through feeders that they can actually climb into. And like, I don't know if you can see the blue one hanging there. I'm getting ready to put some food in it, and I will show you what I'm talking about. But this is our little divider wall and bird sanctuary area. The blue jays, they come really early. They want to get their peanuts and they grab one and go. Sometimes the grackles will grab one and go. The suet cakes, I try to keep a variety out for different types of birds. But the one that I have the most luck on with the birds is actually the peanut suet cake. And the woodpeckers and nuthatches and chickadees, they all seem to visit that. And also the nuggets, I like the tube feeders for those, and they climb up. If you're having trouble with grackles, the upside down feeders that you can get to put suet in, those are really nice, because your woodpeckers and those other birds, they'll fly underneath and eat, and the grackles are not able to do that. So we have another fly-through feeder that I'm going to show you, and you're going to like it. Like I said, planting the flowers, we like the flowers because they help bring in the pollinators. So back to my birdseed mix, and I'm going to try to do video and walk and carry and stuff at the same time. It's not quite as easy as it looks, or that you think it would be. This is my fly-through feeder. It's one of them. And they'll fly through and get what they want out of that. And it's fun to watch the land on the bed rail that we put up for like a little fence area. They like landing on top of it and then climbing into the feeder. Make it easy for them to get into stuff. This one, they fly through in the one side and kind of back out. Because it's kind of blocked by the pole. And as you can see, there's the sunflower feeder. There's my other fly-through feeder that I just recently got. And I like it for the suet nuggets. And I've got a frog feeder up here. That one my woodpeckers really like, as long as I've got the woodpecker or the peanut suet in it. They really love it. And he lights up at night. And that's what he looks like. Kind of cute. And I'll probably take this bush and trim a couple branches back so the birds can get in there easier. This is another one of my ground feeders. And I like this for the birds that really like to feed on the ground. And you want to make sure the lid is on tight, because they will. You'll have bigger birds and other animals that may knock it over. And of course you can make just about anything into a feeder if you're creative enough. I found this little duck at a yard sale. Hung him up, and after I drilled some holes in him for drainage, and he makes a nice little feeder. I also have a little swing in here. The orange feeders that you see over here are for the orioles and also the butterflies. They like the oranges and they also like the jelly. And your house finches will also feed off of the grape jelly.